Hey guys, welcome to part 2 of our Arsenal series here on Sheeds Gaming. If you haven't checked out the first episode, be sure to do that. In this episode, we're going through the first part of pre-season. If you like the content, please leave a like and subscribe, as we're going to have a lot more content coming soon. Alright guys, let's go. Last episode, we rearranged a couple of our friendlies to away games. This is going to give us back a couple of training slots, as we're not going to be travelling to those away games. We're going to adjust the sessions to reduce the intensity and add a couple of recovery sessions to minimise the risk of adding to our injury list. We're also going to add some match review sessions to increase tactical familiarity and team cohesion in pre-season. We're going to take a look at two of our younger players in the first team. We have an upcoming match against our under 23s, so we're going to see how we can utilise them in our tactic. First is Saka. He can play on either the right or the left attacking midfield positions, but as he has a preferred left foot and he has the trait of avoid using weaker foot, we're going to use him as an inverted winger on the right. He also runs with the ball often, which is a good trait to have with his good dribbling, flair and technique, so we're going to try and make use of that in the upcoming game. Second is Willock. He works best as a playmaker in the central midfield position, although we don't utilise a playmaker there in our tactic. He'll be better suited to the Mazzala role. We're looking for him to drift into the half spaces, to create the angles to receive the passes from our defenders and look for forward passes. So we're going to add a personalised player instruction to take more risks with his passing. We've adjusted our code of conduct to be a little stricter for being sent off for a straight red card. We're going to try and increase the morale of our players in our first team meeting, so we're going to be passionate and set our expectations. And finally, we have to conform to the financial fair play regulations, which means we have to make a loss of no more than 15 million across 3 seasons. But if we can achieve at least 5th in the Premier League, we'll receive between 30 and 39 million in prize money. We're now going to jump into a first game of pre-season against our under 23s. This is the team sheet today. We have Lacazette up top in the pressing forward role, Alba and Saka as our inverted wingers, Willock as Mazzala, Maitland-Niles as our dynamic box-to-box midfielder, Xhaka on DLP in front of a defence of Murray and Luiz, with Kolasinac and Cedric as our wing-backs. Leno will be our sweeper keeper today. We're just going to adjust a couple of the match settings. As Xhaka spreads the ball to the right, Saka finds Cedric on the overlap, who gives the ball back to Xhaka, who exchanges passes with Willock, and then Maitland-Niles. Murray finds Kolasinac, Kolasinac finds Saka, Saka 1-0. Kolasinac does well to win the ball. Plays the ball into Oba, into Xhaka. Exchanges passes with Maitland-Niles, back to Kolasinac on the left wing. Kolasinac drives into the box and he wins a penalty. Clumsy challenge. Oba with a penalty. Good penalty. And it's 2-0. Saka with a free kick to the far post, and Willock nods it in. It's 3-0 at half time. Things are going quite well. We're not going to say too much, just get the boys back out there. Kolasinac gives it to Oba, who gives it back to him. Kolasinac crosses. Willock finishes from the second ball. And that brings our first game of pre-season to an end. A good result and a decent performance. So we were expected to win that match, but we've done well to win 4-0. Joe Willock got man of the match as he scored 2 goals. Seman Outman has now officially been named as our assistant manager. Jens Lehmann as first team coach. Norbert Elger as a first team coach. Dennis Bergkamp as a first team coach. João Trelao as a first team coach. Andreas Schlumberger as a fitness coach. Rodolfo Miel as a fitness coach. Philip Logs has been handed the role of under 18 manager. Flavio Tenias has been given a goalkeeper coach role. Rui Barbosa rejected the contract, so we replaced him with Philip the Wild. Renzo Lucchini has been given a physio role, and Anke Stefan has been given the role of sports scientist. Now that we've finalised our staff, I'm going to assign them to the coaching areas. We want to avoid overloading the workload in the specific areas, and we're going to use the under 23 coaches to fill in any gaps and to reduce the workload. So now you can see we've got good ratings in all areas of training and one of the best coaching staff in the league. We're going to jump into our second game of pre-season against RB Salzburg. For this game we're going to go with a slightly rotated squad. We're going to go with Nketiah as a pressing forward, Martinelli and Ozil as our inverted wingers, Willock as Mazzala, Maitland-Niles as our box-to-box, Xhaka as DLP, Kolasinac as left wing back, Murray and Mustafi as ball playing defenders, Chambers as our right wing back, and Leno as our sweeper keeper. We've worked the ball forward well, and Kolasinac has it on the left wing. He plays it back to Martinelli, who lays off Willock, who shoots, and it's 1-0. Great strike from the youngster. So that's half time. We're doing well, we've stopped them from even having a single shot, and we're winning 1-0. However, we need to get on the ball more as we're losing the possession game, so we're going to ask for more from the lads in the team talk. We're going to make a couple of subs to try and reduce the risk of injuries and to try and increase the match sharpness for some of the other players. Balogun is coming on for Nketiah, who hasn't had a great game. Cedric for Chambers, who's done okay. Orba for Martinelli, who also hasn't had a great game. We're going to adjust Ozil's role to try and get him into the game a little bit more. And finally, Cottrell to replace a goal scorer Willock, who we're going to give a rest to. And that's full time. So we couldn't add to the scoreline, but we did increase the possession percentage in the second half, and we restricted them to no shots, which is good. Joe Willock's goal proved to be the difference. Kolasinac picked up a tight calf at the end of that match. Luckily, he will only miss a couple of days. It also looks like Alba is attracting interest from Real Madrid. This is not good news, as he's a key part of how we want to play. But I don't want players around if they don't want to fight for the club. Now that we've got our staff in place, we're going to take a look at the staffing responsibilities. We want to use the staff to do a lot of the groundwork so we can concentrate on getting the best out of the team. First, we're going to take a look at Raul Senlehi, who is our director of football. We can see he's good at judging players and staff and also negotiating. These are important attributes for the roles he is going to pick up. We're going to get him to hire and fire our medical staff and our scouting staff for our first team, our under-23s and our under-18s team. He's also going to hire and fire the coaching staff for the under-23s and the under-18 team. On our scouting responsibilities, I want to add scouted players to a shortlist for 3 months. I also want them to be scouted until the scout has full knowledge of them. On the transfers and signings responsibilities, I want to get our director of football to initiate signings for the first team, under-23s and under-18s team. I want to keep control of finalising the deals though, just in case the players don't fit with the team or the way I want to play. On the training responsibilities, we're going to delegate to our assistant manager for both general training and individual training. However, we're still going to review the schedules and add to them regularly. On the tactical responsibilities, we're again going to delegate to our assistant manager for the opposition instructions for the first team. And finally, on the match day responsibilities, I'm going to automatically make unfit first team players available for matches with the under-23s and the under-18s. As Kolasinac picked up an injury at the end of the last game and isn't going to be ready to start the next game, we're going to bring in Joel Lopez from the under-18s. We're also going to bring in Mazid Ogungbo and Carl Jakob Hain. We're going to make some of the younger players in the team available to play in the under-23s or the under-18s. We've got the upcoming match against Dynamo Kiev, so we're going to take a look at our tactics. We're going to make a couple of changes. First, we're going to rotate the squad a little. We're bringing in Lopez, Socrates and Luiz to replace Kolasinac, Mari and Mustafi. We're also going to adjust Mesut Ozil's role to an advanced playmaker to try and get him more involved in the match, as he wasn't too involved in the last game. Xhaka has the ball in the middle of the field. He gives it to Cottrell, who gives it to Nketiah on the edge of the box. He centres it to Martinelli, who shoots, and is saved by the keeper, who kicks it straight at Ozil, and it ends up in the back of the net. What a gift, and it's 1-0 to the Arsenal. So that's half time. We're 1-0 up thanks to a goalkeeping blunder by Boyko, the Dynamo keeper. Other than that, it's been a really even game. So we need to try and encourage the players a little, but I want to tell them I'm not happy, as I feel this is a game we should be winning easily. Alright, so we've conceded. We gave the ball away cheaply and they hit us on the counter. But that is the first goal we've conceded in pre-season. We're at the hour mark now, so we're going to make a couple of changes. As you can see, we've got some injuries to Chambers, Ozil and Martinelli. So we're going to replace them with Cedric, Alba and Saka. Also, we're replacing Nketiah with Lacazette, as once again he hasn't had a great game. Joel Lopez has picked up quite a nasty injury. We're going to replace him with Maitland-Niles, as we don't have another left back on the bench. Alright guys, and that's full time. So that wasn't the best result, a 1-1 draw, but we're still building our match fitness and tactical familiarity. We did have more of the ball and more shots, but we just couldn't make them count. Joel Lopez did sprain his knee ligaments and is going to be out for 5 to 6 weeks. It's not good, as it's going to hamper him settling into our tactic and leaves us short at left back. In addition, Callum Chambers is out for 3 to 5 days with a bruised thigh. Martinelli is out for 2 to 4 days with a twisted knee, and Ozil is out for 1 to 3 days with a bruised knee. We've taken Lopez out of the squad. We have a small injury crisis at left back, with Tierney out, Kolasinac recovering, and now Lopez out. We're we're going to need to look for alternatives. We do have Maitland-Niles and Saka, who can both cover, but neither of them are naturally left backs, so it does present a couple of issues. As Maitland-Niles is right footed, so we'll look to play in the middle of the park. While Saka is excellent going forward, he does lack the defensive attributes required. I also want him to play higher up the pitch and receive the ball in more advanced areas. We're also going to rotate the squad for the Stoke game. So we're bringing in Serjan for Willock, Auba for Martinelli, Balogun for Nketiah, Cedric for Chambers, Mustafi for Luiz, and Saka for Ozil. Mustafi intercepts the long ball and gives it to Cottrell, who plays it left to Auba, who gives it back to him, who plays it back to Xhaka, who switches it to Cedric on the right wing. He picks up Maitland-Niles with a really good cross, who shoots and finishes really well with the left foot. 1-0 to the Arsenal. Xhaka does well to win the ball back. He gives it to Maitland-Niles, who runs into the middle of the park before giving it back to Xhaka, who lends it to Serjan before switching the ball again to the right, and Saka, who gives it to Cedric, back to Saka. Cedric picks up the loose ball, and what a finish from the youngster. That was a really good piece of play and a great finish by Balogun. It's half time and we're 2-0 up. It's been a good game so far. We're not going to say too much to the boys other than keep doing what they're doing. We've made a few changes to freshen it up a little, and we're back on the attack with Kolasinac down the left. Auba picks up the loose ball and shoots, and Nketiah gets the rebound. 3-0. Nketiah's onto the through ball from Coyle. He drives into the box, gives it back to Cedric, who crosses it, and Aubameyang with a great header into the back of the net. And that's it, 4-0 dismantling of Stoke. We're expected to win, but that's a good result and another good performance. Real has handed John Jules a new 4-year contract. I'm really happy with this, as it means we'll have another talented youngster on the books for a few years. Hopefully he can follow in the footsteps of Nketiah and Saka into the first team. We have another match now. This time it's against Derby. We're going to rotate again to keep the squad fresh. This time Willock is going to replace Serjan. Kolasinac starts in place of Maitland-Niles. Lacazette for Balogun. I want to see what Trey Coyle can do, so he comes in for Alba. And finally, Aziz for Cottrell. Alright, that first half wasn't great. We had loads of shots, but hardly any on target. We're definitely going to lay into the boys in the team talk. I've also had a look, and they're having most of the ball on the wings. So we're going to go and widen our entire game to try and stop that. I also want to try and stretch their defence a little. We've stopped them from really clearing our corner as Xhaka's got the ball. He gives it to Mustafi. He switches the ball to Saka, who shoots, and it's 1-0. Really good shot into the bottom corner from Saka. So that's the end of the match. It was a good game overall, even though it was only 1-0. On another day, we could have had 2 or 3. So I'm not too disappointed. And on that note, we're going to wrap things up there. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, please leave a like. It will really help me to grow this channel and bring you better episodes. Be sure to subscribe and hit the notifications icon so you know when the next episode drops. Also, sneak peek for the next episode, we may or may not have a new sign-in, but you'll have to stay tuned to find out. Until next time guys, stay safe and I'll catch you soon.